Is a post-cabinet briefing. Cabinet yesterday welcomed President Zuma's State of the Nation address, which afforded South Africans an opportunity to hear government's program of action for 2015. Government calls on all stakeholders across the country to work together, especially on the 9-point plan, in order to ignite growth and create jobs for our people. To ensure that South Africans better understand government's program of action, post-State of the Nation address communication initiatives have been put in place to provide details of the announcement made by the President, including ministerial media briefings starting from the 16th and the last one just a few minutes ago of the security cluster. In addition, the 2015-16 budget speech, which is scheduled for the 25th of February, will highlight the allocation of resources to the various government departments and programs as emphasized by the President. Cabinet condemns the unruly and unparliamentary conduct of some members of Parliament during the opening of Parliament. It is disappointing that these elected public representatives chose to dishonor the sacrifice and struggle made to realize our hard-earned democracy. Cabinet were also briefed on the progress that we are making with the Oceans Economy Operations Pakisa. The lab or planning phase took place in Durban, as we know, during July and August 2014 and resulted in the production of detailed 3-feet plans to grow the ocean's economy. The operation has now entered an implementation phase, which involves the monitoring and project managing of implementation. Delivery units have been established, and monitoring and escalation mechanisms and processes are already in place. Briefing was also provided on a second Operation Pakisa led by the Department of Health, focusing on the ideal clinic realization and maintenance, which is underway and was launched by the President on the 18th of November last year. We also approved the National Adolescent Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights Framework Strategy. This strategy focuses on the advancement and promotion of health outcomes, of which sexual and reproductive health of young people is central. The strategy will further ensure and improve coordination, synergy, and alignment with the program of government, civil society, and development partners that already work in areas of adolescent sexual and reproductive health. The Interministerial Committee for this policy has been established already. Cabinet approved the publication also of the draft Early Childhood Development Policy in South Africa. This forms part of the South African Integrated Program of Action for Early Childhood Development. Moving ahead from 2013 to 2016, which was approved way back on the 18th of September 2013. This policy provides a framework for government's accountability to provide a comprehensive package of quality early childhood development services that would universally be made available in sufficient quantities and proximity so that all children enjoy an equal opportunity to access them. This policy also introduces a number of new services to fill the gaps that were identified in the range of services currently available, especially within the first 1,000 days of a child's life. Cabinet approved the release also of the first draft periodic country report on the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities for public comment for a period of 20 days. This report covers the period April 2012 to March 2013. Cabinet also approved the South Africa participate in the International MAP Year in 2015 and 2016 by organizing events at a national level with a view to increasing the level of MAP awareness and literacy in our country. MAPs help understand problems and possibilities such as the provision of housing, sustaining natural resources, managing risk, and facilitating timely and comprehensive transportation infrastructure. Understanding geospatial information informs planning and decision-making for the development of our country. And some of the key decisions that were approved yesterday also involve the directive on the implementation of competency-based assessment for members of senior management services, the SMS, which issued in terms of Chapter 4 of the Public Service Regulations of 2001. The amended directive promotes the independent identification of SMS members' developmental gaps, introduces the use of technical exercises, and provides guidance on how departments can utilize the competency assessment results in conjunction with other processes of recruitment and selection. We'll be hosting the National Imbizo Focus Week from the 7th to the 12th of April 2015 under the theme, Together We Move South Africa Forward. The week will be characterized by door-to-door household profiling, walkabout and project visits, stakeholder dialogues, community engagements, as well as commercial and community media engagements. These provide principals with a platform to interact directly with all South Africans, hear community issues firsthand, and monitor progress of government programs. The following bills were approved for submission to Parliament. The Draft Protection, Promotion, Development and Management of Indigenous Knowledge Systems Bill by the Department of Science and Technology. The primary objective of this bill is to facilitate the protection of indigenous knowledge and the restoration and recognition of indigenous knowledge relating to and owned by indigenous and local communities in our country. It facilitates redress of rights and benefits that indigenous and local communities were deprived of. Cabinet also approved for publication the Firearms Control Amendment Bill for public comments. This bill seeks to amend the Firearms Control Act of 2000 and responds to the vision of the National Development Plan by seeking to improve the statutory and regulatory framework that will govern firearms. Control of firearms is a very important aspect of government's approach to fighting crime. On current issues, Cabinet urges communities and organized structures to work with government under the leadership of the Ministry of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs to ensure the challenges around Malamulele in Limpopo are resolved. We also condemn the disruption of schooling by some groups as a way of raising grievances. This has robbed our children of their right to education and denied some the right to register for the grade 12 supplementary examinations. The establishment of a municipality in Malamulele should be within the confines of the law as prescribed by the Demarcation Board. Cabinet also condemns the attacks on foreign nationals as a criminal activity and reiterates that law enforcement agencies will not hesitate to act decisively against anyone found to incite such violence. No amount of economic hardship and discontent can justify criminal activity associated with those attacks. South Africa is a signatory to the Geneva Protocol on Refugees and is committed to protect foreign nationals in our country. As a signatory to that protocol and as a country that cherishes human rights, we will protect the basic rights of every human being within our borders, including foreign nationals. We also approved the tabling to Parliament the ratification of the treaty establishing the BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement and the agreement on the new development bank. This contingent reserve arrangement is being established to respond to short-term balance of payment pressures. Further, it will serve as a precautionary measure to help BRICS countries forestall short-term liquidity pressures, provide mutual support, and further strengthen the global financial safety net. We also noted the handover of the chairpersonship of the South African component of the BRICS Business Council from Mr. Patrice Motsepe to Brian Molefe. Mr. Motsepe was the inaugural chair of both the South African component and the BRICS Business Council as a whole. During his tenure, Mr. Motsepe succeeded in establishing this important body as an integral component of the BRICS architecture and served as a chair with distinction. We thank him for his service and also wish Mr. Molefe well as he takes over this very important assignment. Cabinet also commends the national cricket team for their sterling performance at the Cricket World Cup and wishes them well as the entire country rallies behind them for this tournament which is underway in Australia and New Zealand. Cabinet also congratulated the flute player, Mr. Walter Kellerman, who won the Grammys for the Best New Age Album. Mr. Kellerman recorded wins of Samsara with Indian composer Ricky Cage, which earned them the award for their collaboration. Cabinet expresses also its gratitude to all energy consumers for responding to the call to decrease the usage of electricity. This process to address the energy challenges is receiving the highest priority attention. The war room established by Cabinet in December 2014, led by our Deputy President, is moving to fast-track the implementation of a 5-point plan to turn the current situation around. Cabinet joins President Zuma in conveying its heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of the Afrikaans literary giant Professor Andre Brink. He will be remembered as one of the key Afrikaans authors who used his literary talent to speak out against the apartheid regime.